Hey mamas, good morning. Happy Thursday. Danielle Cotis here, your new mom coach expert. I coach moms who are totally overwhelmed, stressed out, suffering with postpartum depression. I help you to gain more energy, have more of a wonderful life as a mom, help you kick that anxiety and depression to the curb, and to really help you get rid of that mom guilt. My expertise is in helping new moms who are suffering with postpartum depression heal naturally, because that's what I did myself. So today we're going to talk about why there are so many moms out there that are really not getting the help they need, that are really suffering with this postpartum depression and anxiety. And we're going to talk about all their fears and kind of the myths behind getting help. And then we're going to go into why you should get help, especially if you are suffering with postpartum depression and anxiety, and how much that can really, really change your life and really transform where you are today to where you want to be. So one of the biggest things, at least that I felt when I was suffering from postpartum depression and anxiety, was that if I got help, there was a chance that my child could be taken from me. And this is a serious, serious fear that women have with postpartum depression and anxiety, is that they're afraid that Child Protective Services is going to, or their therapist is going to call Child Protective Services and say that they're crazy and someone's going to take their kid away from them. And this is a really strong fear. And it could be that you're suffering slightly from postpartum depression, or you're like on psychosis side. It doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you're on. This is a serious fear that women have, and in a lot of the postpartum Facebook groups, this is something that's talked about on the reg, about whether or not they should reach out to a therapist or a psychologist or their doctor and let them know that they're really suffering with these intense feelings and this intense thoughts that they're having. And if they do reach out to a therapist or some sort of helping professional, will they be deemed as crazy, and will their child be taken away from them? And this is part of the reason I didn't get help for so many months postpartum, was because I was deathly afraid that somebody was going to take my child. Now, although I was not that far gone, that was a serious fear I had. And getting over that fear, I never really got over that fear, to be completely honest with you. But if you're suffering right now, this is a fear that we need to talk about, and some myths behind it. So although you may think that if you talk to your doctor, your therapist, that they will call Child Protective Services, the chances of that are very slim to none. The only time that they would ever call Child Protective Services, if you were to join therapy or tell your doctor that you're suffering from postpartum depression, is if you were a danger to the baby or danger to yourself. Now, let me put it this way. So if you have a therapist and you're talking to your therapist about these crazy thoughts that you have, whether it be harming yourself, harming your baby, or you are just feeling down, the therapists want to hear about that, okay? Because when they hear about it, they can help you get through it. Now, again, if you're saying that you tried to commit suicide, that's a different story than your harm to yourself. But you also want to tell them that this is something that's going on. Because if you don't tell your therapist, or you don't tell a doctor, or you don't tell a psychologist what's going on, they cannot help you. They cannot help you see the light of the tunnel. They cannot give you the tools or the skills to help you reach where you need to be in order to be yourself, in order to feel good, in order to be, that mom that you want to be. So if you sit at home and you're miserable and you're crying and you're having these self-deprecating thoughts and these self-harm thoughts, or you're worried about you're harming your baby or things like that, you're not helping yourself or your baby. So you really do need to reach out to somebody, to a doctor or to a trusted friend or to a helpline, where you can almost be anonymous, or one of those support groups, so that you can get more information about the therapist that you should be seeing. Now, I have heard in some of the Facebook groups that there are times where moms have told their doctors that they are suffering with postpartum depression or anxiety, and they have called Child Protective Services. Now, when the mom was not endangering herself or the baby, which is really upsetting because this is what's causing the fear in the moms to not go get their help. So to all those doctors that are out there, like if that's the first thing you do, that's really messed up, because moms don't choose to have this. They don't choose to feel this way. Like it's just something that happens. And to tell the mom that all of a sudden, because you feel this way, you can't have your kid, is a little crazy, because really what they're asking for is for you to help them, is for you to help them to feel better, is for you to give them the chance to learn the skills and get the tools and resources they need to help them see the light at the tunnel, to take the steps to feel better. So to take their child away from them immediately when they just said they have postpartum depression is absolutely absurd. So what I suggest for you moms out there that are worried about getting help or worried about telling someone that this is what you're suffering with is to reach out anonymously to some of those helplines that are out there, or talk to your friends who may have it, or get on those Facebook groups and get therapists in your area or things like that. Most of the therapists and the social workers and the counselors that you're going to see are going to want to help you. They're not going to want to take your child away, because that's only going to make your postpartum depression worse. So for the most part, you want to tell your therapist or your coach or whoever you're seeing what exactly is going on, so that they can get to the root of the problem and help you start solving it. So that's definitely one of those big myths that we just want to bust right away, that chances are it's slim to none that they're not going to take your child away from you. Another thing is, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Another thing that a lot of moms are worried about is that they're going to be prescribed medication right away. So me as a mom who's pretty natural, and obviously what I coach is how to heal naturally from postpartum depression and anxiety, I did not want to be on medication. I did not want a doctor or a therapist or a psychologist to prescribe me medication to help me get through my postpartum depression and anxiety. And the reason I did not want to do that is because I did not think that medication was going to actually solve the underlying issue. And with anxiety and depression, whether it's postpartum or regular, there is an underlying issue that needs to be solved. And so for a lot of women, what I find is that they don't want to be on medication because sometimes women can't think properly, or they don't think that it's going to be the best fit for them. They want a more natural solution. And we're in a world where we want more natural solutions. So if your fear is that someone's going to prescribe you medication, you can just say, no, I don't want to be on medication. You don't have to take the medication. You could tell your therapist that you don't want to be on medication. And most psychiatrists and psychologists, they will choose to prescribe you medication before they prescribe you counseling. So I would suggest going to a therapist or a counselor or social worker before going to that, if that's something that you want to avoid, or maybe looking for a new mom mentor or a coach like I am, where I'm not allowed to prescribe medication. That's not in our forte. So if that's something that you're worried about, you don't necessarily have to go on medication to solve your problem. However, if you feel like you need to go on medication, that's okay. A lot of women do really well on medication for their postpartum depression and anxiety. And it is sort of a quick fix to helping you feel a little bit better pretty immediately. There's also tons of herbal supplements. So if you want to see a naturopath or an acupuncturist to help with that, there's a ton of herbal supplements you can take, and definitely a homeopathic route that you can take as well. So it's not really medication, it's more herbal medication for you, but it's whatever you choose. So let's just crush that myth to begin with. You do not have to go on medication if you do not want to, especially if you're getting help. They're not going to prescribe you medication unless you want that. You have the right to say, no, this is not what I want. Another thing is, if a lot of women fear that they're going to be judged and ridiculed and, again, saying that you're a bad mom. I know you already have these feelings. So reaching out for help and telling your doctor, sometimes you feel like they're going to judge you. And to be honest with you, they might. But that's the reality of it, is that people don't understand postpartum depression and anxiety. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the world, is that the awareness of what's actually going on, and to get rid of that stigma as much as possible around this kind of situation that you're in, that it's really hard to get a handle on what's happening, and it's kind of feels like it's happening to you, and that you have no control over it. So a lot of doctors, although they are OBGYNs or your general practitioners, they've never experienced this, so they may judge you. But I would say about 80% of those helping professionals are not going to judge you. They're going to say this is a very common thing. About 1 in 5 women are experiencing some sort of depression, postpartum depression and anxiety. 1 in 5 women. That's a lot of women. So if you're at a mom's group, at least 1 of the 5 people that are in there, or 2 of the 10, are going to be experiencing that. That's a really high number. So chances are they're going to tell you this is something that happens more often than not. And I'm really glad that you reached out for help. So they're not going to judge you, but you may have a doctor that does, and that's the reality of it. So, kind of getting past that fear of someone taking away your child, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to get the help that you need, and you're not going to have to worry about that. The ridicule and the judgment, yeah, you might get some, but at least you're going to get the help that you need. So definitely reach out to somebody that you can, so that you can get that help. And dealing with the medication problem, you can just say no. So now that we've talked about a little bit of the fears, why should you get this help? Like, why, even if you're still feeling these fears, even though I kind of busted some of those myths right here, even though you're feeling those fears, why should you actually take that risk? Because the fear of taking this risk to reach out for help is so great, right? Your fear, your guilt that you feel this way, it's so intense. So you sit in your house and you post on these Facebook groups, this postpartum depression groups, and you don't get help. What is going to make you get that step? Why should you get out of the house and take that step? Or why should you get on that Skype call with that therapist or that coach to help you get that step? Because you deserve to get the help you need. You truly, truly, truly deserve this help. And to sit there and suffer for months like I did, I suffered for anywhere between 6 and 8 months with this. It's extremely trying and extremely exhausting. And it kind of breaks your soul. It crushes your soul. And I don't want that to happen to you. So if you can start getting help today or tomorrow, like, you don't have to suffer for months at a time or years at a time with this inner turmoil, this anxiety and this depression. You don't have to do this. This is something that's totally curable, that will totally go away in such a short amount of time. So although you think that maybe you can get through this by yourself, and maybe you can, maybe you are strong enough, but why would you try to do that by yourself? Why wouldn't you get that assistance and get that guide to help you get rid of it faster? Like, why would you suffer like I did for a month saying, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and only to find out that you really need that support system. You really need that help. And now you've spent almost a year suffering by yourself, and you could have gotten rid of this in 3 months, less than 3 months. So that's what I want to tell you, is that why do it by yourself when you can get help? A lot of the help is free. Some of the help is covered by insurance. Some of it you do have to pay for. But if you had to pay for a service that could rid you of the postpartum depression, or even make you feel a little bit better than you feel right now, it's 100% worth it. The time that you're going to put into therapy, or working with a coach, or talking to your doctor, or going to the support groups, is going to far surpass the time that you would be suffering by yourself, suffering in this feeling of loneliness, because that's what at least that's what I felt. I felt lonely. I felt alone. I felt unsupported. Even though I had some support, it still felt that way. And I know I'm talking to you. So if you're suffering, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You feel unworthy. You feel helpless. So if you could get the support so that you feel worthy of support, so you feel help, you feel supported, why wouldn't you do that for yourself? And if you're not doing it for yourself, then you have to do it for your baby, right? Because that's where most of that guilt comes in, is that we're just not that good mom. We're not showing up in that right way. And so getting that help is going to help you get rid of that mom guilt. It's going to help you to show up in the right way, the way that in your brain you want to show up for. So sitting at home like I did, and like many of you listening right now, it's not going to help you to get you where you want to go. And the fears that you're feeling of why you're not getting help is going to set you farther back on the path to recovery. So my biggest thing right now for you is, if any of you moms are out there that got help or getting help right now, I would love if you can leave in the comments how you talked to a therapist and they didn't take your kid away, or what kind of medication you were on that was helpful, or what coach did you work with that really helped you, or did you see a naturopath? I would love to hear what you did so that other moms can see that there are moms getting help out there, and that they had the same fears, or comment with what fears you felt, or why you thought you weren't getting help, or why you weren't reaching out. Because what I'm trying to do is help you to see that just sitting at home is not going to help you, that you need the support, that you need the help, and that there's so many resources out there. So, excuse me, right now, if you're at home, please take one step today to help you recover from your postpartum depression and anxiety. This is totally curable. I've cured myself of it naturally. Like, I've gotten the help I needed, and I feel amazing. And it's totally possible for you to get rid of this, to kick it to the freaking curb. It's so possible for you to gain that energy that you want. It's so possible for you to not feel that mom guilt so intensely. It is so possible for you, because it's happened to me, my clients, thousands of people around the world that are getting help. So please take one step today and get the help that you need. And today, if that's to book a call with me and talk about what's going on in your life, what steps you want to take, what steps you need to take to see the light at the tunnel, to see that journey, to see the end, to vision the end, and for me to help you figure out how you can heal naturally, then that's an awesome step. So at the bottom of this video is a link to book a call with me, and we can just chat about what you're going through and what you could be doing to get the help you need, and how you could be recovering faster, and what are the steps that you need to take. And if it's not book a call with me today, it's talk to your doctor, it's talk to your therapist, it's talk to your friends, join a support group. It's something. You just need to do something today. Please, for the sake of your mental stability and your child and your family and your wonderful life, I want you to live a wonderful life. And it's totally possible for you to feel good again. It's totally possible for you to feel like yourself. You just have to get the help and support that you need. So thank you all so much for being on the line with me today. I really hope this was helpful. If it is, please give me a like or a big heart. And I would love to hear any of your comments or concerns or questions regarding getting help for postpartum depression and anxiety. I'm sending you so much love, Mama. And please, please, please take one step today. And I promise you, you will feel so much better. Each step that you take every day towards your recovery, you will feel 100% better. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Until next time.